So today we will study the link between openness, intellect, and the brain, the functioning of the brain, and this link is posited by the theory called cybernetic peak 5 theory, CB5T. CB5T posits that the domain of openness intellect reflects differences in the cognitive exploration that generates new informations of experience in terms of causal and correlational patterns. Here, cognition means both reasoning and perceptual processes. People high in openness are imaginative, curious, innovative, perceptive, thoughtful, and creative. It has two subfactors: intellect, which reflects cognitive engagement with abstract information, and openness, which reflects cognitive engagement with perceptual and sensory information. The curiosity and innovations are common to both openness and intellect, and they are likely to be driven by dopamine, specifically by a type of dopaminergic neuron that codes for salience instead of value. It is activated by both positive and negative information and innervates different brain regions. The evidence for dopaminergic involvement in openness intellect is more circumstantial, in fact, than the evidence of it for extroversion. The hypothesis that dopamine is involved in openness intellect was based on indirect evidence. First evidence, the involvement of dopamine in exploratory behavior, is well established in animal research. Second evidence, dopamine is involved in the working memory attentional mechanisms that allow maintenance and manipulation of information in short-term memory. Third evidence, dopamine is the primary neuromodulator of latent inhibition, which increased dopaminergic activity producing reduced latent inhibition, and openness intellect may reflect individual differences in the automatic tendency to perceive salient information in everyday experience. The association of intellect with working memory has been demonstrated neurally as well as behaviorally. As an fMRI study using the ideas facet of the neo-PAR as a measure of intellect found, it was the only facet associated with brain activity predicating accurate working memory performance in the scanner. Associations were found in two regions of the prefrontal cortex, the left front pole of the lateral prefrontal cortex and a posterior region of the medial prefrontal cortex. The frontal pole is crucial for integrating the outputs of various simpler cognitive operations and for making abstract analogies. The medial prefrontal cortex region in question is known to be involved in monitoring goal-directed performance, which might be particularly important for those high in intellect who are motivated to do well in cognitive tasks. Given the centrality of imagination for openness intellect, we might expect that the default network would be an important substrate of the trait, especially the openness aspect, which encompasses fantasy proneness as one of its facets. Two functional connectivity studies offer some tentative preliminary support for this hypothesis. One found that openness intellect was associated with increased connectivity between the main mainline hubs of the default network, whereas the other found that openness intellect was associated with connectivity in more parietal components of the default network instead.